Today's video is brought to you by Atlas VPN. Atlas VPN helps make sure that when you're on the internet, you are safe and secure, as well as it being easily accessible. It has over 6 million users worldwide, and it's available on the Apple Store as well as Google Play on all of your devices. And so you'll be having a safe Christmas and an even safer New Year with Atlas VPN Premium, which is currently available for $1.70 per month plus 6 months free, and there's a 30-day money-back guarantee. So please don't miss out on this Christmas deal and check out the links in the description below. And all you need is this one subscription to protect all of your devices. And it goes above and beyond, blocking malicious links, ads, and trackers, and it also notifies you when somebody is trying to steal your data. As well as if you're trying to watch Netflix per se and there's an anime that you want to watch but it's not available on your version of Netflix, well, you're able to use another version of it using the VPN. That way you're able to watch your favorite content. It really can't be understated how important it is nowadays when surfing the internet that you feel safe and secure and that your personal information isn't being leaked through malicious websites. This is without a doubt the absolute best deal you could get on a VPN. A 3-year deal for only $1.70 a month plus 6 months free for all of this amazing coverage. So once again, make sure you check out the links in the description below and you don't miss out on this amazing offer. And thanks once again to Atlas VPN for sponsoring today's video. Now, if you ever go to the comment section of my video, you'll probably see two individuals recommending Black Lagoon. And one of them, Super4Panda, has been at it for 502 days in a row, while the other one, Giorno Giacomo, has been at it for 345 days. Y'all's persistence is amazing, but I also do slightly feel a little bit of pressure for once in this video, so just do me a favor, both of y'all, don't stand near any ledges, alright? Black Lagoon is a seinen manga that essentially is about these mercenary pirates, if you will, that do all sorts of jobs, particularly like moving goods and transportation and stuff like that, but they'll also put a bullet in someone if necessary. Now, the important characters of the series, at least the ones that will stick around and continue to be important throughout, are Revy and Rock. Now, these aren't the only two characters that we'll continue to see that are introduced at the beginning of the story that will stick throughout. There are others, but I'll get to them in a bit. From the jump, Black Lagoon comes off as very unique from anything I've ever read. Considering the setting that it takes place in is something I'd expect straight out of a mafia movie or gangster movie, considering the dialogue and how vulgar it is at times, in contrast to what I would expect from a manga. Again, just based off of what I've read. Which is why I would imagine that a lot of people were telling me that the dub for the anime was the better experience than the sub. I could see how that would translate a lot better. And the artwork in Black Lagoon at times gives me a heavy reminiscence of Hellsing and Drifters. I don't really know how to explain it, but when reading Black Lagoon, I felt extremely grounded. It felt like almost every character we were being introduced to had some sort of logic or some sort of justification beyond logic as to why they behave the way they do and how they came to be in this horrid cesspool of a world that we're introduced to in Black Lagoon. Or, well, more so City, but you get the point. And I think a lot of the immersion that comes from that is because there's constantly all these different moving parts as you're reading throughout the series. There's so much more that happens within Black Lagoon outside of just Revy and Rock, and usually they're just thrown into the mess, at least early on. And despite how dark it can get within the series, a key example being the brother and sister, which I was not expecting the series to go there, but it did. It's a series that can also have its comedic moments to help break the tension, and the action is absolutely great. I would have never thought I wouldn't get sick of seeing guns being blasted over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. As I mentioned earlier, Rock is one of the characters that we're introduced to early on, who is pretty much kidnapped by the Black Lagoon crew, and he ends up joining them. And at first, he comes off as this very sympathetic and innocent character, but oh boy, I was not expecting what ends up happening later on. If you haven't read it, I won't say nothing, but for those that have read it, y'all know exactly what I'm on about. But I think the way that Rock is incorporated into this story, especially in that first early half, is great because it really does create a moral dilemma that later on we see become more and more intensified based off of the circumstances that end up escalating. It's something that we see a little bit with Rock, but I think we also see it with a lot of the other characters, and it's sort of the reality of things being out of their control. Life pushing you in a certain direction, and when you make a certain choice, you have to live with the consequences of said choice. Choosing how you want to live your own life and sticking by that. And I think a character that really shows that to a strong degree is Revy, the primary character of our story. Now, she is a whole lot of fun. I think throughout the entire story, she is constantly a point of conflict, not only with what she does physically, but verbally, confronting other characters, oftentimes on their hypocrisy and sort of them wanting to separate themselves from what she does, and anytime they judge her for her actions and her apparent cruelty. I also think her dynamic with Rock is also a blast. And there's also still that intrigue with her character as to why she became the way she is. And the story isn't finished, so I assume we're going to get more and more of that if the story were to come back and continue onwards, which I heard recently it is coming back from hiatus. But I do find Revi as a character to be extremely enjoyable. I think she's fine. Now, before getting into the series, I would have been made to believe that Revi makes Black Lagoon. Like, that is the selling point for the series, but yet after reading it, that's not the case at all. In fact, I would argue it's the character surrounding her that really hooked me on the series more than anything. And again, that goes back to the fact that Black Lagoon doesn't solely focus on her character a lot. It jumps around with all of these different moving parts. But characters like Rock, I found to be a lot more memorable for me. Balalaika is another character that I felt extremely intrigued in. And for me, by far, the MVP for the series, without question, bar none for me, the best character in the entire series is Roberta, or well, her actual name, Rosarita, which I was not expecting this character to go that crazy. For me, throughout reading Black Lagoon, the first, I'd say, 30-so chapters of the story, they had me hooked, I was intrigued, I was enjoying it. Afterwards, around the 40-50 chapter mark, things slowed down for me a little bit. But once the entire storyline with Roberta and the young master gets reintroduced into the series, for me, that is absolutely the best part throughout the entire series. She is without the standout antagonist and the standout character for me in Black Lagoon. I felt like the series really took a different turn with that one for me personally. And so I think when it comes to Black Lagoon, it's not really just the protagonist, which I was sold on to be the primary strength of the series. I would argue it's all of the characters surrounding Revi that really made this an amazing read for me. Again, not saying that Revi wasn't part of that as well, just I would credit the majority of the things that I liked in the series to be the other characters outside of Revi. And I think part of the reason why is, again, when it comes to characters like Rock, Balalaika, Roberta, and even the young master, is these are all characters that when I was introduced to them, I felt a certain type of way, but as the story continued onwards and we got to see more and more of their character, I felt completely different. I felt like there was more to them and that they were far more dynamic, versus Revi, that I felt the same way about her in chapter 1 as I do now in the story. She's a character who's fun and does not shy away from being verbal about the way she feels about the world and her place in the world. However, I wonder if a lot of the credit to her character goes to the fact that she's badass. Although I feel like to a certain degree, just saying she's nothing but badass would be underselling her character. Now, I'm not sure how much better this is in the anime. I haven't seen it. If the anime is the much better experience, let me know down in the comment section below, because at the current moment, I sort of feel like this is a 7 or an 8 out of 10 for me. I thought it was a very good read, and I'm excited to see how the series continues to go down the line. It has a lot of room to continue to explore Revi's character, as well as to continue to introduce us to plenty of other characters in the world of Black Lagoon that will be plenty of fun. These are just some of my general thoughts on the series overall. Let me know yours down in the comment section below, and if you haven't checked that out, make sure to check it out for yourself and don't just take my word for it. As always, this has been the Masked Man. Hope everyone has a blessed rest of the day, and peace.